Commercially available tests. Tests are commercially available to assess learners' performance in their language skills. Some courses do not want learners to pass a test at the end of the learners because students do not have any specific needs. There might be a sponsor who wants an outside assessment, and then a commercially available test can be used for this purpose. Also, for learners who need a certificate to apply for a job or to enter a course, they would also be tested by using a commercial test. Learners' motivation is considerably enhanced when they know that they have to pass a test at the end of their course. Commercial tests are generally well thought out by their designers, and they take into account all the factors which need to be assessed. Basically, they focus on the general English competence of the learners. Some of these examine only certain language skills. For example, the TOEIC test is only test listening and writing of the learners, and that is why it is attractive, because it is easy to administer. However, there are others which give a more comprehensive picture of learners' competence. For example, the Business English Certificate test, which tests the speaking and the writing and reading, all the four skills of the language of the learners, and is at different levels of preliminary, vantage, and higher. So this is what it looks like. For example, here we can see that test of reading is of 1 hour, test of writing is of 1 hour 10 minutes, so on. Test of listening is approximately of 40 minutes, and test of speaking is of 16 minutes per pair of candidates. The Business English Certificate requires the test takers to achieve a threshold score to pass, whereas the other tests like the TOEIC do not have a pass-fail threshold, but instead result in a score which can be compared to a set of can-do statements. For example, we can see here that there are can-do statements here of the skills of reading and writing, and it says that the learners can read and understand restaurant menu, they can read and understand a train or bus schedule, can read and understand traffic signals, and so on. So basically, it tests learners on these can-do statements. The problem with these commercial tests is that they do not test the specialist area of the learners. The area specialization of the area is not tested at all. The Spoken English for Industry and Spoken test, for example, by the London Chamber of Commerce and Industry, however, tries to get past these problems by letting the candidate choose to speak on a subject of his or her own choice. So this is what it looks like. Spoken English for Industry and Commerce test. At the fourth level, which is of 40 minutes, the learner who have gained a high degree of fluency in business or professional encounters and transactions in English, candidates must be able to converse freely on topics of general interest, be able to explain and discuss a subject of their choice in depth, and use the specialist vocabulary appropriate to the subject chosen. Similarly, in section A, which is of 5 minutes, there is a general conversation. This will be an introductory conversation encompassing a variety of business-related topics, including one of current interest, enabling the candidate to demonstrate a wide range of vocabulary and expressions in both familiar and unfamiliar topic areas. These tests, the commercial tests, they do not try to assess the different discourses which the learners will encounter in real life. However, the Pittman provides a test called the English for Office Staff, aiming to target specific types of discourse. Tests can be marked holistically, that is, that the markers try to get an overall picture or impression of the competence of the learners, or the tests can be assessed through analytic marking, which uses more detailed set of specific criteria for the examiner to use. Business English Certificate Speaking Test assesses candidates in terms of the four separate criteria of the language skills, which are as follows: the grammar and vocabulary, discourse management and pronunciation, as well as interactive communication.